What if I told you we could forever overhaul and improve your golf game if you would just incorporate and employ 3 basic concepts that all start with the letter A? 3 steps away from great golf? Are you kidding me? We'll unpack the mystery straight ahead. Hi friends, Bill Hobson here. Welcome inside the MGL Sim Studio. Glad to have you with us for a bit of a tutorial. And this lesson actually has its origin story dating back to when I was an assistant high school golf coach. We would have kids come in who, for the first time ever, were going to try to play this game at a competitive level. And even though they may have hit some balls on the range or been out with dad or grandpa from time to time, they hadn't really ever developed an intentional approach to every shot. Now, listen, I am not a PGA professional. Some of you watching this are. Just know that I'm talking about this from a coach perspective, just trying to get some broad strokes introduced to young players. And I came up with what is called the 3 A's of every shot. 3 A's. So 3 basic concepts, all starting with the letter A. You ready? Here we go. Assess, align, aggressive. Assess, align, aggressive. Those are the 3 A's. Now, underneath each one, of course, there are branches that include many other factors and many other responsibilities from the golfer standpoint. I'd like to kind of break them all down for you here, if you don't mind. So none of this needs to slow down your pace of play. None of it. In fact, the first A, assess, should begin before you ever get to your ball. Because whether you are teeing off to start your round or whether you're now about to hit the next shot on a hole, you should begin assessing what's coming even before maybe the other players have hit, maybe before you start your walk or your drive to the hole. Now, to help us illustrate some of what we're talking about here today, we are in the simulator space. We're going to visit my favorite public golf course on the planet, which is Arcadia Bluffs, right? So my favorite hole anywhere on earth is the 11th hole, the par 5 at Arcadia Bluffs, and I'd like to use this as one of the example holes for assessing what we have coming up. Okay, so let's talk about all the things that would fall under the letter A, that would fall under assessing my shot. Well, we've got distance, right? So we've got a par 5 here of 603 yards. That's a long ways away. It's 38 yards downhill. By the way, if you're at Arcadia, all of this information is also in your cart on the GPS screen. I understand that when you're out playing every golf course, all of this isn't available. But when we start to assess, the first thing, the basic level, is we're going to look at the distance of the hole. Then we're going to kind of look at some of the other factors, like how about our weather conditions? Now at Arcadia, there are times when it can be fairly gusty. It's right on Lake Michigan. And so we see right now we're playing in 17-mile-an-hour breezes that are going from our left to right. They're going southwest. That's a lot of wind. And so that will impact the ball a considerable amount and probably should change your initial aiming point, okay? So what I'd like to do is take us on a bit of a flyover tour here of number 11. We're gonna go from tee to green so that we can get a look at how we should be strategizing on this hole. Here we go. Beautiful tee shot from up high and a hole that curls back around to the left. Even though it's a par 5, that second shot landing area is very, very narrow. If you've ever been to Arcadia, you know this is a pretty good representation of what number 11 is all about. You've got the big bunker waiting for you on the right side on your third shot. So as we get into that world of assessing how we're going to play the shot, play the tee shot, we've got to take into consideration our elevation, the wind conditions, where we want to set up our second shot, and probably after you have a couple of chances to play this hole, you'll realize that most all of your tee shots kind of kick down over that mound down to the right side. So that's one example of assessing. We're looking at distance, we're looking at conditions. By the way, if we weren't on the tee box, we'd be looking at the quality of our lie. Are we in the fairway or are we in the rough? And all of these things can be taking place before you ever get to your ball. The last thing we want to do is slow down play by having you get to your ball like pretty much every player on the LPGA Tour, it seems like, takes forever to do all of this, and then they're stepping away 4 and 5 times. Do not imitate their pace. Begin the assessment of your shot before you ever get to the ball, and so you're ready to pull a club and get your shot going. So there's an example of what the assess, looks like. Okay, as we look at the concept of alignment, which is our second A in the 3 A's, I changed holes on us. We're now on the 17th hole, the par 3 at Arcadia Bluffs, and I want to give you a quick fly through to help highlight the reason that alignment is so important here, along with the assessment process. Because if you happen to miss this par 3 to the right side, you're dead. You're in the valley of sin. If you go long and right, forget about it. It is going down deep into the valley, and you're going to be praying for a bogey at best. And so part of this whole concept of assess and then align is designed to get the right club in your hands and also to get you lined up in the right direction. Proper or improper alignment is the #1 problem with most golfers. They may hit the ball well. They may hit it far, they may hit it straight, but they're lined up at the wrong target. There's a reason why when you go to a professional tour event, if you get to hang out at the range, which is one of my favorite things to do, and watch these men and women practice, almost every one of them has some sort of an alignment aid on the ground at their feet to help make sure that they are lining everything up properly, right? So I can grab my super speed stick. Now in here, there's a little bit of a cheat built in because we're trying to hit everything for the most part towards the middle of the screen because that's how it aligns by default. The alignment of feet, hips, shoulders to your target, wherever that target happens to be, is kind of the foundation for hitting the shot in the general direction you'd like it to go. So we are going to start by assessing. Let's set this shot up. We'll kind of build it as we go, right? So we come up to number 17 after we just finished the beautiful par 4 16th. We come up to 17. We see that this plateau is waiting for us up here, and we can tell even from the tee box that missing to the right's no good. Short looks like a problem, and we realize that this hole is uphill. So we are at 161, but we're uphill almost 12 feet. What does that do in my mind, in your mind? Well, that's at least a club. And then we're still assessing, right? I don't know how well you can see it on your device, but in the blustery conditions we've set up here at Arcadia, it has been gusting from between 17 to 25 miles per hour. If you don't do a proper assessment before you hit a shot, you're going to step up to a shot like this. Look at the number, say 161, it's up a little bit. I'll play it at 168, 170. And if you don't assess properly and you don't account for the wind, your ball is going to land in the valley of fescue that leads up to this green. So I actually, because of the strength of that wind, I think I'm going to play this at maybe a 185, which sounds crazy, but that is a lot of wind and it's uphill. So let's see if through assessing and then hopefully aligning, we can hit a shot somewhat on target. I won't claim to be very warmed up, but we'll see what happens here. This is the 17th at Arcadia. Right is dead. There is some room left, and things kick off that left side to the green. We'll see if we can get there. Treating this 161 on the number as 180 to 85. The wind right now is down to 16 miles per hour. Up on the left side, let's see what we got here. I hit that pretty well, and that's even short. Now stay up. Oh, you're kidding me. Stay. All right. I can live with that. Now I have this in practice mode, so I'm right back on the tee box, but I can live with that shot. And the reason is because after doing all the proper assessing and then proper aligning, we were ready to go. And that leads us to our third A after assess and align. Okay, our third A is aggressive. We've done our assessment. We've lined up properly. And now it's time to aggressively make this swing. Why do I say that? Because uncertainty leads to tentative swings, which often leads to chunk shots or sculled shots, shots that veer way off target because you just weren't entirely sure that you had everything else right coming in because maybe you didn't have a plan coming in to start with. Well, now you do. Now you know in this case that you've got 107, but it's uphill 11 yards. And if you're actually not in a simulator, but if you're actually in the 18th fairway at our Arcadia Bluffs, you'll know how imposing that is because you can barely see the top of that flag, and there's often some people sitting in the Adirondack chairs behind the green. So you've got this kind of this nervousness that your round's going to come to an end. But if you have done your assessment properly, if you have your alignment all set to go, then we need you to make an aggressive swing. That's not to be confused with a foolish target. Aggressive doesn't mean you're firing at every pin. It just means that you're making a swing that has confidence to it towards the target that you've chosen. In this case, for instance, the pin is on the right side of a very contoured green way uphill. I don't think I'm going to aim right at the pin. I'm going to try to go left of it. So if you're looking at the screen here, the flag is between the second and the third dormers on the windows. I'm going to try to hit my shot at that first window, which, by the way, also means that here in the simulator space, I'm not going to hit it directly straight at that target. I'm going to pull it between the flag and that window. We'll see if we can do that after we've assessed it, and hopefully we've lined up properly. Now we make an aggressive swing. Actually pulled that quite a bit further than I intended to. So we'll have a little work cut out for us. But I told you this is a very contoured green. And in this case, that works to my favor as this ball keeps rolling down off the hill, and it almost looks like I knew what I was doing, almost. And if you listen closely, oh, it went away. In the background, when you get up to the green, you can hear the bagpiper. So that is our quick overview of the 3 A's that I really think can change your game for the better forever. If you've not ever incorporated a set pre-shot thought pattern, maybe this one will help. Assess, align, aggressive. And remember all the things that fall under each category. Under assess, the distance, the conditions, the quality of your lie, how you're feeling, what the wind's doing, all of those different things are part of that computation that leads into assessment. Alignment never changes. Alignment is something that all of us have to do on every single shot, and we should practice that way on the range as well. And third, last but not least, an aggressive swing. A swing that you feel good about after it happens. Even if the ball doesn't always go where we want it to, at least you made the aggressive swing the way that you've practiced. And that one time that you caught the ball so pure that you didn't even feel it hit the club face, that was probably the result of an aggressive swing. We would love to have you subscribe to our channel here. We have a lot of fun here on the MGL YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us for the 3 A's. Let us know, by the way, how they work for you by adding a note in the comments below. We'll see you next time.